So many artists use the natural forms and nature to inspire their work, and I'm going to show you here how you can use a leaf and a wax crayon to create an abstract pattern. So first start by putting your leaf down with the textured side facing upwards. That's the side where you can feel the most texture. Alright, so put it on the table, put your paper over it. Doesn't really matter where, because we are creating an abstract pattern. So just hold with one hand, hold your paper. When the other, start your rubbing. Okay, when you get a good impression, a good print of your texture, lift your paper up. Move your leaf around. So the more you move it, the more interesting you'll get, you know, a pattern. And then start rubbing again where your new leaf is. Make sure you hold the paper firmly, otherwise you'll get a blurry picture, which won't be that interesting. And continue doing that all over your paper. Okay, I really want you to think about where you're putting your leaf, where your lines are going to be. Make conscious decision about where, how it's going to look the most interesting. And also, I want you to go all the way right up to the edges, so that the picture really goes to the edges. And here we have an abstract pattern. Why don't you have a go? Now that you have your abstract pattern and you're happy with the result, you're going to start painting it. So we're going to concentrate on shading and kind of gradient. So I'd only want you to use 2 colors. So, you know, in this case, green and yellow, but you can use any 2 colors as long as one is lighter than the other. And we're going to look how to paint from dark to light and mix paint together. So with your brush, your wet brush, you are going to mix your colors. You always start by putting a little bit of the darker color into the lighter color until you're happy with your shade. So I'm going to start with a very light green. So I've added some yellow here. You can see a very light green there. And I'm going to follow the lines there of one of the leaves, and then I'm going to add a little bit dark green and kind of try to have a gradient of colors mixing into each other. I don't want you know, blocks of colors. I want you to try to mix together the colors and have a nice shading from light to dark. So adding a bit of yellow there. Make sure your paint's not too thick. Stay thin enough to see through so we can see the pattern underneath. It's really important, otherwise you lose all your hard work. And think about how it's working with your picture as you're doing it. So if you have a really light color on one side, maybe on the other side have it a little bit darker, so it follows, just coloring it basically and going along those lines, creating interesting shapes. So you're just mixing those two colors together. It's always nicer when you mix your own colors rather than using the color that you get from the tube. And you can really start to get an interesting piece. So take your time, mix your colors, and really paint carefully. So once you've finished painting your piece, I want you to flip it around a few times. You know, really look at it and look at which way it looks best. And, you know, I quite like it like this. Or maybe like this. So really think about your composition, your colors, how they work together. You can go back to it and start painting a little bit over it if you're not happy with the finished result. And really consider your work. Thank you.